I'm wearing a bright pink lip to hide how awful I feel underneath it. Don't let the lipstick fool you. I am not feeling well physically, and I have a feeling I'm about to not feel very well emotionally because I'm about to react to clips of service dog denials. Not very fun, but a very important topic. And I am never one to shy away from talking about not very fun things because I think that oftentimes those are the things that we need to talk about the most. Talking about guide dog and service dog denials is nothing new here on this channel. I personally have been dealing with it for 17 years that I've been a guide dog user, and only increasingly so. And so I thought, as the second installment in my reaction series, instead of reacting to the cutest guide dogs being the goodest boys and girls, I would react to sad things. Buckle up, Buttercup. Let's go.
As a special ed teacher in San Jose, California, Annalisa DiLeonardo gets to school a little differently.
Find the curb.
Through the eyes of guide dog Cousteau.
The moment I heard find the curb, I was like, that's a guide dog. I feel like that's like the only type of service dog that you ask to find the curb, but correct me if I'm wrong.
He is literally my eyes. Without him, several times I would have been a pancake.
Cousteau gets Annalisa safely to a curb each day to catch a ride share, if they can find a driver who will take them.
I don't think a dog.
He's a service dog.
Nah, that's good. Thank you.
He is a working service dog.
Yeah, but I don't have any.
Okay, but
It's just so classic. I mean, by far the most I've ever been denied is like Ubers, Lyfts, Rideshares, taxis, cars. Being unable to show up to set on time because my Ubers deny me. Going into recording my audiobook in like a bad mood because I was literally being filmed in the back of somebody's car as they drove erratically and yelled at me that they were going to call the police. Being sworn at, like being told that I'm a liar and I'm not disabled. Just like being told like the most horrible things. And like I've had experiences, like I was denied trying to get to a restaurant on my birthday.
it's against Lyft's policy to refuse him. You have to take him.
I know, but I mean, I'm not tell about pets.
He's not a pet. It's like a wheelchair.
Anytime they break the law is when we start recording.
Those refusals, not just impolite, but illegal. A violation of the Americans with Disabilities Act and against the company policies of both Uber and Lyft. And yet this summer, Annalisa has captured the offenses.
So many non-disabled people, non-service dog users, like get up in the comment section and are like, well, it's their car. Like they have the right to not want a dog in their car. Actually, they quite literally don't. Like it is Uber's policy, it's Lyft's policy, and it's the ADA federal law.
The offenses weekly on cell phone video.
I don't want to mess up my car.
It says, why aren't you taking me?
I don't want to mess up my car.
It's a service though. It's a Lyft. You have to.
On a human level, what does it feel like?
Like I'm less than and I'm not wanted in society.
In 2016, Uber and then Lyft the next year settled lawsuits by the National Federation of the Blind and promised to crack down on drivers. But with the issue persisting years later, the U.S. Justice Department is now getting involved. NBC News has confirmed through a source with the department and Christine Benninger with the nonprofit Guide Dogs for the Blind.
Actually, things have gotten worse. We get phone calls on a daily basis.
Benninger says the DOJ's Civil Rights Division is collecting data on these refusals. Her own organization's
Things have absolutely gotten worse, and again, that's something I've mentioned so many times here on my channel.
Findings show 83% of clients report being denied rides.
A number of clients are actually evaluating whether they would get another guide dog again. The sad part about that is
I have multiple guide dog using friends who have said they are not going to get a new guide dog when their dog retires, purely because of the denials and the fear and the lack of safety they feel in those scenarios.
the guide dog is much more than purely safe travel. It's your bridge to the community.
Uber told us we have a clear policy prohibiting drivers denying service because of a rider's service animal, and it can take appropriate action, which may include deactivation of a driver's account. Lyft said it requires all drivers to accommodate passengers traveling with service animals, and it asks riders to report issues immediately. But Annalisa,
if you are breaking the law and denying somebody their basic human rights and discriminating, you should be absolutely kicked off the app, no questions asked. Because if you were to assault somebody physically, if you were to be driving recklessly, I feel like they would have a much lower bar. Like, it wouldn't be like, oh, you can get to 3 car crashes with passengers in your car and then you're kicked off. Or I don't know, I just feel like they shouldn't be so lenient on these drivers who are literally breaking the law.
Annalisa says filing reports with the 2 companies leads to little more than the drivers getting a warning.
And then I usually get a $5 gift card.
Yep.
And so sometimes I've just stopped reporting.
It's a service dog.
Yeah, I can't. I'm sorry.
Despite the frustration, Annalisa is a teacher first, hoping this story serves as an important lesson.
I'm the same as you and I deserve the same rights and I just want to get to work.
Good job.
Candace Wen, NBC News, San Jose, California.
Thanks for watching.
It's obviously extremely relatable. It's frustrating. I am literally sweating. This feels like a good time to tell you about the sponsor of today's video, Lumi. Lumi is clinically proven to block body odor all day and continues to control BO for 72 hours. Okay, I'm literally gonna put more deodorant on. This is so gross, but I'm dripping in sweat and I don't wanna get stinky up in here. This smells, rub it on my sweaty pits, then sniff it right out of the bottle. Oh well, this smells like quite literally the most toasted of coconut. It's called toasted coconut. Also, the deodorant stick is smooth, solid, and does not show up in the skin. I don't just have the deodorant. I've got the deodorizing body wash, the deodorizing spray. I've got the wipies. I've got the cream. We've got an array of Lumi products to make sure we are always smelling fresh. And I don't mean just in your pits, okay? This deodorant is for everywhere. Everywhere you could possibly feel self-conscious about your odor, you can put it there because it was created by an OBGYN. So it is pH balanced so that you can use it on your bits, both front and back. I like wipies, to be honest, because this is so gross, but I am not somebody who sweats a lot from being hot, mostly because I'm always cold. I am an emotional, anxious, stress sweater. That's what makes me sweat the most. And when I am emotionally stress sweating, I am quite literally dripping from my pits. It'll just stream down my sides. So I like having wipies with me because if that's happening, I can kind of do a little rub down. I can wipe up everywhere that is sweating. One thing that's really important to me as a blind person is that Lumi products don't stain your clothes. And that's important to me because I can't see when I get stains on my clothes. And I don't want to be unknowingly, accidentally walking around with deodorant marks on my clothing. So that's really important. And of course, on this channel, we love our doggos. I mean, this whole video is about the love of the special doggos. So all of Lumi's products are vegan and cruelty-free, which is really important. And for a limited time, Lumi has a bunch of different holiday bundles available on their website. It is the time to shop Lumi, and they are 40% off. Plus, just for you, for sticking around and watching this video, you can get an extra $5 off when you use my link that is down below and use code MollyB. Ooh, and you also get free shipping, which is awesome because I don't know about you, but I hate paying free shipping. And this is applicable to all orders over $30. This is the type of thing that not only should you get for yourself, but pick some up for your loved ones this holiday season. I think we all want to end the year and start 2025 stank-free. Okay, so apparently this is a very long clip. I had my boyfriend suss all these clips out. He said it's a longer clip, so we're starting partway through. And it is police body cam footage, which is the only information at this point going is watching it that I have. I have had people threaten to call the cops on me multiple times. They won't typically do anything. They usually won't even show up. Because it's a human rights law, it's not considered an emergency, is what I've been told. So, let's watch.
Hi.
Hello.
How you doing?
So they really did call you, huh?
Yes.
Good.
What's going on?
Last dog jumped on me. Afterwards, I kicked him in the
You kicked
okay?
You kicked
So
who?
what,
Is she saying she kicked the dog? She kicked the man? Okay, just so we're all clear, assaulting a service dog is a crime. You cannot assault a service dog. I mean, assaulting any dog should be a crime. But from my understanding, here in the United States, intentionally like injuring or bringing harm to a service dog is a crime. But apparently she kicked the human, not the dog. We'll see.
what would you like to discuss?
What's the story?
What's the story? I asked the man why he had the dog in here. It's a service dog. Where's his jacket? Where's his proof? I don't have to show you. The law says I don't have to. I said, well, we'll go up to the desk then. I don't have to show them either. I said, because he's not a service dog. And then the dog jumped on me. So I turned around and I kicked him in the...
You have your ID on you?
Lot to unpack here.
Yep.
Lot to unpack. Number one, the service dog user, and I'm going to go under the assumption it's a real service dog. The service dog user does not need to show any proof and does not need to have their dog in any special equipment or gear. However, a service dog should never jump on anybody unless they're jumping on their own handler and it's a part of their training for something like medical response. But a service dog should never behave like that. So this is like a weird one because like she's very in the wrong, but also if it is a real service dog, then it shouldn't be acting like that. And businesses do have every right to ask you to leave with your service dog if it is not behaving as a service dog should. Okay, we continue.
On you?
He then presented this thing. I don't do this. I don't show this to people. But here's this thing. I said, shove it up your rear.
Okay. Well, he doesn't have to. Number one, you don't work here. It's not your right to be asking around.
She doesn't even work there?
She was shopping.
She's just a shopper?
Oh, so I'll give you a little bit of context. So he walks up to her as she's loading like groceries into her car.
This is so wild. She doesn't even work there. Why does she care? Why does she care so much? This is... Mind your own business, my God.
It's not my right?
No, it's not.
No.
Oh, well, here.
I don't need your debit card. I need your ID.
Why not? You're going to give me a ticket.
As a matter of fact, you are going to jail.
Oh, that's even better.
Yep. So, turn around, put your hands behind your back.
Well, yeah, she literally admitted to assaulting someone. Like, she admitted to assaulting somebody. That's a crime.
Turn around, put your hands behind your back.
Oh, wait. Can I put my wallet away?
Turn around, put your hands behind your back.
It's giving Karen.
Glad you guys have nothing better to do.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, you
How old are you?
I'm 80.
You're 80, acting like a 14-year-old.
Well, you're like a mistake.
Any weapons on you?
Yeah, my mouth. Oh!
I can see that.
You're just...
I'm really sweating.
Yeah, it's warm in here.
I have no words. She has a lot of spunk for 80 years old. Also, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. What can I say? I mean, at least the police took it seriously.
Okay. I'm blind and I just got kicked out of a restaurant in Seattle. I walked in with my guide dog.
Immediately I know it's Paul and Maple, my friends. Elton and I are friends. I have seen this, but I'm gonna play it in case you haven't.
Guide dog Mr. Maple, and immediately somebody rushed up to me and said, no pets allowed, only service dogs. I said, it's okay, he's a service dog. He looked at me, he looked at Maple, he said, emotional support dog. No, like a guide dog for the blind. I literally had this harness attached to him. I showed this to him. I said, I'm blind. He said, you don't look blind. And I said, a lot of people.
I'm pretty sure, because he has a GDB dog, and I've seen a lot of GDB harnesses, and I'm fairly certain that they have a plaque, like a plastic plaque between the two bars of the handle that literally says guide dogs for the blind. You can't just buy those. But the amount of people that legitimately ask me where they can get a harness like mine, like when I'm out and about, it happens frequently that people will be like, oh my God, such a nice harness. Or be like, where did you get that harness? And I'm like, it's a guide dog harness. I got it from the guide dog school. Like, what? It's so funny. People like truly don't get it. And I've had a lot of people, when I say it's a service dog, they'll ask, where's the vest? And I'm like, well, he has the harness. He doesn't wear a vest because he wears a harness. They're one and the same in terms of like a symbol of service, but like he needs a handle to do his job. So a vest would be useless for me. Like it's really wild.
People in the blind community still have some functional vision. He said, you're looking right at me. I said, yes, but it's like I have a pinhole of vision. It's all I can see. He said, listen, this is.
Also, even without a pinhole of vision, I can look pretty directly at you because I can hear the sound of your voice. It's not rocket science. Like, it's incredible to me how many people are shocked that I'm looking at them. And I'm like, you are talking. I'm simply looking at the sound. It's not hard. I hear the noise. I look slightly above it because I know how faces work.
Listen, this isn't my first rodeo. He literally said that. He said, this isn't my first rodeo. What is going on out there that would lead this man to believe that I was lying? And he said,
because too many people lie. That's what's going on. Unfortunately, truly. Too many people are lying. Too many people are bringing emotional support animals into environments they don't have a legal right to be in. Too many people are bringing untrained pets into spaces and pretending they're service dogs. That's what's going on.
do you see any other dogs in this restaurant? I said, well, I honestly, no, I'm blind. There could be. I said I could come back with his paperwork, and he said, if you step foot back in this restaurant with that dog, I will call the police. I'm speechless.
I mean, go for it. Call them. Again, that's something I've been told too. A, they never follow through. They never call the cops. But B, if they do, they usually do nothing. They usually tell you that they can't do anything. File a human rights complaint. So, at least I know that this went very viral. It got a lot of attention. People Magazine wrote about it. He ended up getting a follow-up phone call, I believe, from the manager. And I've had experiences like this as well, where I try my best to approach managers at restaurants that I go to frequently, if I've had issues before, and be like, hey, I would like to share the law with you. I've even printed the law out for them and highlighted important points, given it to them, and been like, this is the law. This is what happens if you don't follow the law. I would like to make sure that you, as the manager, educate your staff accordingly to this law, because they're currently breaking the law. And I'm a nice person, so I'm not gonna do anything about it. But if this keeps happening, you're gonna not only have a problem with me, but potentially other people. So I've done that a number of times. And yeah, I know that he ended up hearing back from them. They apologized, everything was smoothed over, but it's just so frustrating how often this experience has happened to me. And I'm both surprised and almost happy by how it feels like from Paul's video that this doesn't happen to him often. That this was a new experience, or a surprising experience for him to have. And I'm happy for him that has been his experience with his first guide dog, Mr. Maple. Unfortunately, it happens to me so often. And unfortunately, my boyfriend had to spend hours sorting all these clips, not because there wasn't enough for me to react to, but because there was so many for me to react to. And that's why I wanted to make this video and talk about this. I've shared stories that I've been through. I've reacted to people like Steve-O kind of spreading misinformation and encouraging bad behavior around service dogs. It's such an important subject. I'm so passionate about it. And that's why I wanted to make this reaction video, even though it's not like fun and uplifting and cute, it's important. Next clip.
There's no such thing as proof for servicing. We have food. Oh, for servicing. I just want to let you know that you're allowed to ask 2 questions. Is it a service dog? Yeah, you're allowed to ask, is it a service animal and what tasks is it trained to perform? I know, I'm just... Right, he's a service dog. I was just letting you know. There's no such thing as a registered service animal. There's no such thing as proof for service animal.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of so much misinformation out there about like what a service dog is and what the laws around it are. And so many people have defaulted to asking for proof because so many fake service dog handlers provide proof. And it's so funny that it's created this weird cycle where fake service dog users are believed over real service dog users because fake service dog users have this like illegal random BS piece of paper from the internet that they paid $50 for. That makes them look more legit over the ones who have real service dogs. Like, it's such a crazy world. And also this whole like, there's food here. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter. My dog is not allowed inside a commercial kitchen. But if I'm eating at your restaurant, I'm not inside your kitchen. I'm just a patron sitting at the table. So it does not matter. That's not the law. I've mentioned before that I used to be so patient with people because I'm a people pleaser. It's my own issues I gotta work through, but like, I'm a people pleaser. I hate confrontation. I hate it with my whole heart. I think from being bullied my whole life, confrontation makes me really anxious. I like to make people happy, and I don't want to be a disturbance. So for me, like, I used to be so patient and so good about just taking the time to have a conversation and to educate. And this is also why I have done that, where I like bring the piece of paper and highlight the laws and educate the managers. And like, I've tried to be so good about it to give people a good impression of service dogs and real service dog users and of disabled people in general. And it's so hard when you come across people like this who don't want to hear you. They don't want to listen. They have no time for you. They do not care. They cut you off. They ignore you. And I've had that experience so many times. And it's not just frustrating. It's like really emotional. It's like makes me really sad because it feels like once again you're not being seen. You're quite literally not being heard. You're being ignored, which as disabled people, we've been so ignored by society for so long. And it just feels like your existence does not matter. Like, it truly, to me, service dog denials go deeper than not wanting a dog there. Like, that's how it feels for me. On the emotional receiving end of denials, it feels like so much more than we don't want your dog. It feels like we don't want you. Because my dog is a part of me. My dog is an extension of me. My dog gives me the ability to live the life that I deserve to live. And by actively choosing to ignore everything I'm saying and not try to listen, you're belittling my existence as a disabled human. Okay, this is the same creator, and it is the final clip that I'm going to react to in this video.
Hey guys, me and Cider were out training with our friends when we suddenly got a call that my best friend / roommate had just had an active, really bad seizure at work. So we hopped in the car and rushed to the hospital. Then when I went back to see him, before knowing if he was okay or not, this is what happened.
No dogs? I literally come to this hospital all the time with my service dog. I come here in the ambulance with my dogs.
There aren't supposed to be any dogs here. I'll talk to the charge nurse.
I've been to this ER many times with my service.
I hate this, like, I'll talk to my charge nurse. Because it's this, like, condescending, like, we might make an exception for you. Like, it makes it sound like I'm gonna do you a favor. You're not. You're not doing me a favor. You'd be following the law. And it's mind-blowing to me how many people in medical settings are so out of touch with disabled and chronically ill experiences. And I know that so many doctors and nurses follow me because I see your comments and I receive your messages, and it makes me so happy that as a doctor or nurse, you have chosen to seek out lived experiences of disabled or chronically ill people and are choosing to actively create awareness and educate yourself. Because when you are working day in and day out with disabled and chronically ill people, this should be taught in university. Like, you should learn about this stuff in medical school. You should have disabled people coming in and speaking to your class. Like, it is mind-blowing to me how, as disabled people in medical settings, we are so often treated as the disease and not as the person who has the disease. And that's like a whole separate issue, but that truly is a problem. We are viewed as the disease that you are fascinated to study, instead of the person who is living and impacted by that disease every single day. And yeah, it's crazy to me how many people have had denial experiences in medical settings. The only place in a hospital that a service dog is not allowed is in a surgical or sterile environment. My guide dog can come with me to the ER, into any room.
My service dogs, because it's illegal to deny.
It's illegal to deny you from coming in with the dog, but it's not illegal to deny you coming in.
Yes, it is.
Give me a second, okay?
He's just not allowed in sterile environments.
Can you give me a second?
Roommate's literally back there after a seizure. I've never had an issue at this hospital before. Yes, good boy.
It was so...
I think that frustrates me, and I've had that experience where, like, I go somewhere consistently, I go somewhere regularly, and I never have a problem, and then one day I do. And it catches you so off guard, because I feel like I always have my guard up when I'm going somewhere new, because I'm just aware that I might have an issue. But when you're going somewhere that you've been regularly or consistently and you've never had an issue, and all of a sudden there's a new staff or somebody you've not met before who doesn't know and doesn't understand and tries to deny you, it's like even more jarring than when you're going somewhere new and experiencing that, because it's that much more unexpected.
It was Cider's first time in the ER, so I was really proud of how he was handling himself and still alerting me. We still didn't know at this point if my friend was okay or not. Finally, about 10 minutes later, he let us go and see him.
Yes.
Hey guys.
Well, at least they got back to see their friend, but obviously that entire situation should have never happened, and there's truly no excuse for it. There is no excuse that in 2024, almost 2025, service dogs and their handlers are dealing with this so consistently and so regularly, and something has to change, and I don't have the answer as to what that something is. All I can do at this point is continue to speak out about it, continue to use the platform that I've built to raise awareness, to have these conversations, and to hopefully empower customer service workers to be educated, the average consumer or the average human to be aware. And I just feel like I'm getting to a point where I'm so over it, and I just feel almost powerless. And that's such an awful feeling, because feeling powerless is a feeling that we as disabled people have far too often already. And then you get put in this situation because of something that's meant to improve your life, and in so many ways does. NFB recently did a protest at Lyft and Uber's head offices in San Francisco. Hundreds of people turned out from the blind community, from service dog schools, dog trainers, allies, which was really awesome to see. I honestly wish I could have been there. But Uber, I don't know about Lyft. Uber did release like a statement after. I'll pop it up on the screen and have some info about it below, saying like some things that they're going to do to improve. And I feel like cynical at this point. I feel very jaded at this point. Like, I'm like, okay, believe it. I'll believe it when I see it. Yeah. That's it. That's all. I have no happy feel-good thing to end this on, other than the fact that you can get a great deal on the Lumi holiday bundles. That's the only good news I have for you. You can sweat from stress, but you won't stink. So there's that. Check out my link below. Use code MollyB when you check out to get an extra $5 off your already discounted bundle. And until next time, you can click over here to see me react to Steve-O's, I don't even know what that stuff was about a guide dog or a service dog. Or you can click over here to hear me tell a very emotional... Or you can click over here to hear me tell a very emotional story about one of many times that I've been denied.